Hey everyone, my name is Jen,
And my name is Michael.
and we are the co founders of Second Society Report. So, today, our first episode of our YouTube channel series, we're going to discuss whether we think Warped Tour should make a comeback. This is going to be the first video, hopefully of many, where we're going to discuss hot topics in music. So stay tuned to find out our favorite Warped experiences and why we think or think it shouldn't come back. First, we're going to give a little bit of a background on our own Warped Tour experiences so that you know that we know what we're talking about. My first trip to Warped Tour was actually in 2010. I went to go see You Me at Six, We the Kings, and Mayday Parade, who were my favorite bands at the time. I went with my mom, my dad, and my brother, and spent the whole time freaking out and fangirling because every artist that I liked had meet and greets, and I had never done a meet and greet that wasn't like a giveaway type thing before. I'll insert some pictures here of what I looked like then because it's embarrassing. Other years I went were 2013, where I skipped seeing Go Radio for the last tour that they did to see William Beckett for the 20th time. I also went in 2014, where I saw We the Kings, Mayday Parade, and the Somerset, who I missed because we were late to the venue. But I did get to meet them, which at the time I thought was super cool. In 2015, I went specifically for Pierce the Veil, and then I also saw This Wild Light for the first time there. And then I went in 2018 with Mike, specifically to see State Champs. I had tons of experiences, lots of sunburns, and spent lots of money on chicken nuggets and french fries.
Okay, so my experiences won't be as detailed as that because the first time that I went, and I'm fairly certain that I went because I did remember finding one of those weird shiny special the VIP tickets in one of my drawers from a few Warped Tours ago, definitely before Jen and I had gone in 2018. I just don't remember most of it, but I do remember in 2018 going to see Crown the Empire was definitely one of my favorite performances of Warped Tour. That was one of the main bands that I wanted to see. Obviously, State Champs was there. I remember, I think, like a month earlier, before Warped Tour actually came to Mansfield, Mass., they played an acoustic set at Newbury Comics. So I remember seeing them there, and that's when I realized that, well, okay, I really love these guys.
And right after Living Proof came out.
Yeah, it was when Living Proof came out. So yeah, after that, I was more invested in their music. It really heavily enjoyed Living Proof to the point where it got me into a lot of their older stuff that I never really gave a chance. But yeah, so State Champs and Crown the Empire were definitely the two that I was super excited to see on 2018 Warped. But that was mainly my experience with Warped Tour. I don't have much, I guess.
For a little bit background info, Mike was not an emo kid growing up, whereas I was. My first Warped Tour, I think in the photos of me, you can see I have those stretchy bands all the way up my arm. I had song lyrics written on my shirt that I was like, oh my God, the bands will notice me if I do this. I was also 15. So in my defense, that's why. Okay, so now that you kind of know where we're coming from, we're going to go into what we liked and what we hated about attending Warped Tour.
What did you like?
My favorite thing about Warped Tour in general was that you could go in and spend your entire day listening to different music. I think they did a really good job of distributing set times randomly every day. So you could go in first thing in the morning, and maybe you would find out that your favorite band was playing at 3 p.m. So you had hours where you could check out new artists. One thing that I did hate, though, was that because the set times were random, if you were running a little bit late, like the year that I missed the Somerset, we were running a little bit behind, and they went on at 11:15. And so we were in the line outside, and I was so bummed because I only actually ended up ever seeing them once in concert before they broke up. So that was disappointing. but I hated how hot it was. That's not something that Warped Tour could change. Like, they couldn't manually adjust the temperature outside. But I always felt like it was the hottest day of the year, where at, like, any city that they've ever played, that specific
Hold on,
day.
can we just talk about that though? Because it felt like anytime, and I'm sure this is for just about any date. I mean, I bet there's rare occurrences where it actually rained, but it feels like at every single time we've ever gone to like Mansfield for any festival whatsoever. Like, I remember going for Mayhem Festival back in, I think, like 2011, 2012, somewhere around there. And it's just every time we go to the Xfinity Center, if it's on the asphalt, it's blisteringly hot that day, just randomly.
When I was a kid, I don't know whether it was because I was just adamant that I didn't need water, or what, but I always felt like finding water was so difficult. And I felt like the bathrooms were disgusting.
Maybe my top 3 would definitely, like, 2 that you mentioned. Obviously, the weather. When we went, it was horrible all day long. It was just too hot out, and just standing out there for so long, you basically had to have water in your hand all day, or you were just on the verge of heat stroke.
Or the spray bottle fans.
Yeah, exactly. Number 2, obviously the bathrooms were horrible. But number 3, I think, I'm not sure how it was at other cities, or, you know, if they charged less or charged more, but the prices for like the food and the drinks were just so astronomical that it was almost as if you were paying as much as what it cost for like merch just to like get food,
like 3 chicken nuggets and like 10 French fries.
And and they weren't even good at all. But I mean, obviously at the time, if you're super hungry and you barely have any water in you, it feels like heaven in your mouth.
Water bottles are also really expensive, which is why I was so glad the last year that we went that we were able to find the refillable water stations.
I don't really have much to add to that, because like I'm just I guess you could say Warped Tour baby over here. Like, I haven't really been to too many, so you do you.
Yeah. Do you think that Warped Tour should make a comeback?
I'm kind of on edge about it for a couple of reasons. Mainly, one of the reasons being that we have Sad Summerfest now. And don't get me wrong, it doesn't bring back all the different genres that Warped Tour had. So, like, for example, I was really excited when I went in 2018 to see Crown the Empire. You wouldn't see Crown the Empire at Sad Summer. So Sad Summer is obviously more pop punk and punkish, I guess you could say. And that's great, but I don't know. I'm on edge about it. Like, it would be nice to have a festival like that again, where you just have so many different bands clashing throughout the day. You have so many opportunities to see all of your favorite bands that you want to. And yeah, you can get that with Sad Summer if you enjoy that genre. But for some people, it's not, Sad Summer doesn't work for them.
But what about the other festivals for people that are interested in hardcore, like Mayhem or Disrupt Festival? They come through. I think they play even the same venues that Sad Summer does, and they feature harder or like edgier artists. I don't know. I really just listen to pop punk, so I don't know that much about those festivals. But
the problem then would be money. Like, people that don't have the budget to do that. A lot of people enjoyed Warped Tour for the fact that they could just go to Warped Tour and see a lot of their favorite bands and wouldn't have to worry about any other festivals throughout the summertime. So, I mean, while it would be nice to have Warped Tour back, I think there would just have to be so many changes to how they run things, because everybody knows why they shut down.
Trigger warning for sexual assault. The main reason that at least I believe that Warped Tour shut down wasn't because Kevin Lyman was done with it. I think it was entirely because over the past couple of years, as the Me Too movement has gained momentum, a lot of people have come forward with stories where they were assaulted or harassed by artists on Warped Tour, which is like the biggest stretch of so many artists, so many people. Like, there's no one to specifically watch you, make sure you're in your green room and out of your green room at certain times. There's no people really guarding backstage, checking IDs or anything. So I think the main reason they shut down was because they just didn't know how to handle all of the accusations and all the assaults that happened there. In addition to maybe he was tired out, like maybe he thought people were done with it.
But I mean, that could have been passed off to somebody else. Like the torch could have been passed if he wanted to, and he decided not to, and that's fine.
I feel like I did hear a rumor that it was because of sponsorship too. Like Vans was done. Like I know like Journey sponsored Sad Summer last year. I don't know if they are again this year.
But that could also come back to it's 100% due to like all the sexual assault allegations like made against multiple bands, multiple members of, you know, who've been to multiple different Warped Tours and have been on the entirety of the Warped Tour. So I mean, those type of predators don't have a place in the scene whatsoever.
And it's exposing them to a lot of audiences where there's younger kids that aren't necessarily like being watched by their parents or even security. And I kind of feel the same way. Like I think Warped Tour doesn't need to come back. I think while it was the best place to see so many bands of different genres and to only pay like whatever the price the tickets were, I don't know how much they were when I started going, but I feel like they were $70 last time.
Yeah, tickets were pretty cheap for you to be able to go to like an all-day festival. Like it was pretty cheap.
See so many artists, and I wish that there was something like that had more diversity in their lineup. But at the same time, like you said, I think that Sad Summer, Mayhem, and Disrupt and maybe another one that pops up are gonna like fill the void that Warped Tour had.
Yeah.
And hopefully also have better like protocols regarding issues like sexual assault. But I think that Warped Tour itself, how it was created, how it ended, doesn't need to come back. And I think that they ended on a fantastic lineup. 2018 was probably one of the best years that I went. Like, I think there were so many artists that I wanted to see. State Champs just happened to be the main one that I wanted to go for, but we saw so many other ones like Real Friends.
Real Friends. Yeah, that was one of my favorites. I was so happy to see Real Friends too.
Yeah, and I just think
Real Friend.
I just think that it ended on the best note possible and gave way for so many better opportunities to open up.
I guess in a perfect world, it would be nice to have Warped Tour where, you know, we don't give predators platforms to go and play their music and nothing gets done about it. It's wild that has to be said. Like, all you have to do is just be a decent human being. Whoa.
It would really benefit everyone if Warped Tour came back, or for any festival going forward, if they have a designated team to check for that stuff, to check in on fans, to check in on artists, and like make sure that everyone is being safe, having fun, and sticking to music.
Absolutely.
That's it.
So, I mean, with that being said, I think at least the consensus between us is that Warped Tour doesn't need to make a comeback. As she has mentioned, we've progressed past the point of Warped Tour. I think with more new festivals emerging, especially with Sad Summer, hopefully Sad Summer can kind of evolve into something like that.
A side note, I think that what society needs is a music festival run entirely by women and non-binary folk. I think that would be the best way to make sure that everyone is safe and having a good time.
I think that also comes down to most of the music business is heavily male dominated. Not that
make a festival for all artists of color. Or
obviously, women are just as much, if not way more talented than men. And
it's time for women to take over.
I think a lot of women don't get a lot of the chances that men do, especially for getting signed.
Yeah, but that's a whole other video.
Yeah, that's
a whole other video.
Okay, but we'll wrap it
up. Next time on Second Society Report. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let us know in the comments below whether you think that Warped Tour should make a comeback, and if yes, why? And if not, what festivals are you attending when they come back, hopefully eventually?
And if you guys watched all the way to the end, thanks so much. We appreciate it.
See you next time.